Our 30th episode. Oh.
30. That's an even number.
Yeah, but that's like also when you like get your shit together. That's when you have like a kid or two. You know, you start getting a mortgage. Wow. The Avant Inn's growing up.
Yeah. The podcast is just going to start getting complacent, ready to settle down into life, you know.
What do you mean to say is conservative?
Yes. Oh, this is episode 30 where the podcast gets conservative. We got to pay taxes all the time.
They say as you get older, you become a Republican, and I bow to thee, Mitt Romney.
Definitely the episode title, Bow to Thee, Mitt Romney. Now that the cast is buying a home, buying a stroller.
401k, it has our name on it. Avant Inn, okay, Enterprise. That's how much I know about that.
You can tell we have not caught up to the age of this podcast. I don't know how to start an LLC. Exactly. So the coronavirus is back stronger than ever. It's back again. It never went away.
No.
But it feels like it's back because the Delta variant is surging, as they say.
Well, I don't know if you've heard about it, but the Delta variant plus is now has been identified in India.
The Delta variant plus? That's
this is not a joke. It is literally called the Delta variant plus.
I thought you were saying like iPhone 10.
No,
plus.
I think that's how they're naming it now.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Delta, it's going after iPhone naming rules. The iX, please, I hope it doesn't come out.
Okay, so did the Delta variant hit India before it became the plus?
I want to say it is where it originated, or I could be wrong, but it's been identified in India and in South Korea. The Delta variant plus.
Interesting.
Whereas the Delta variant is now, ravaging the unvaccinated US.
Right. So now that we have vaccinations and we've taken many steps to fight back the pandemic, now that we have the Delta variant with a bit of a cooler name, it seems that we're now taking it a little more seriously as far as what kind of measures we can take. Because for some reason it was very controversial not long ago to like mandate vaccinations,
right,
or even masks in some states.
Right.
And now everybody's sort of getting on board with just forcing people to get vaccinated.
I don't know if you saw the video, but the Alabama governor was begging her state to please take the vaccine. They had the lowest vaccination rates in the country.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, you have to do this.
Yeah, I also saw the Arkansas governor who banned mask mandates and I think prevented any like schools from having any mask mandate, is now like regretting it and is now trying to begin the legal process of like bringing that law off the papers.
Yeah, there's a lot of walking back. The Republicans really like to scoop in at the last moment.
Yeah.
They really want that last free throw.
And his excuse was, well, when we passed that law, we didn't have that many cases. But
when like 100, if not thousands of people were dying a day, it didn't matter to him. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Well, back then it was all political. At least now it seems like I guess it's still political now, but at least they're taking it seriously. Everyone just wants us to be over now.
I don't know. Hot take. Maybe the conservative bases realize they're killing off because most people who aren't getting the vaccine are Republican and white. So I think they're realizing they're losing their voter base.
Wow. You're onto something there.
Which, weirdly enough, they should have always been on it. But we digress.
Yeah. Well, New York City also, we now have to show our vaccine passes to go to restaurants, to go to the gym, to basically do any sort of indoor activity, which is what I wanted all along.
Well, when they premiered the Excelsior Pass, it was all about like, you have to show this to get into things.
How many times have you shown an Excelsior Pass to another human being?
3 times.
3 times.
Yes.
And you got vaccinated in like
April.
Yeah. And I wanted to. It was cool.
Yeah.
Show me your Excelsior Pass.
I told people about it today at work and they were like, what is that? And I was like, was I born in another period of COVID? Like,
wait, your New York City job, your coworkers in New York City didn't know
what the Excelsior Pass was. But hey, if you're in New York City and you want $100, go get the vaccine now.
We should have waited.
True. No.
We could have gotten free lottery tickets.
Krispy Kreme donuts, $100, even, I don't know, a 3-night stay in Barcelona. Who would have known? It could have gone so well for us.
The longer this goes on, the bigger the jackpot for getting vaccinated will be.
We will send you to space if you get this vaccine.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, start handing out those space tickets for the unvaccinated. They're gonna die one way or another. Welcome to the Avant Inn. I am one of your hosts, Ofer Wagner.
I'm another host, Jerome Allen.
And we are doom-scrolling the news so that you don't have to.
So, we've talked about the governor of New York more than a few times on this podcast. And for those who don't know, because I didn't know this until this morning, Governor Andrew Cuomo has been in power for 11 years. And he is seeking a 4th term as the New York governor. Now, of course, that has now, that is a long shot.
Little speed bump.
Little speed bump happened. The state attorney general, no, she's actually a state, Letitia James, the Southern District of New York Attorney General, or New York State?
I think she's the New York State Attorney General.
New York State Attorney General released a 165-page paper detailing, you guessed it, Andrew Cuomo's sexual harassment and toxic workplace environment.
Guilty.
He got me too'd, bro. Can I say I'm surprised? No.
No.
Do I feel bad for him? No. Did we all see this coming a year ago? Probably not. Now, what I'm really surprised about is the fact that he's denying it.
Oh, he's doubling down hard.
He's doing the baby.
He's
pulling the baby.
The baby.
With the apology and the doubling down.
Did you watch his little press conference response to it?
No.
Oh, it's pretty fun.
Doesn't he have a PowerPoint, right?
Well, that's sort of his move. He's very good at the PowerPoints, but he essentially says that, the truth, he says the truth is different from what they say it is. And then he goes on to explain how the type of behaviors that they're accusing him of is the behavior that he's done with thousands of people.
I kiss my friends on the cheek. I kiss my boys and my girls. I kiss them all on the cheek. I kiss the forehead.
I kiss white people, black people, children, lesbians.
I call them sugar cheeks, cheeky cheeks, fat ass. They all love it. He
People
literally said
they love my cheek kisses. People love my cheek kisses.
That was so weird. Oh my gosh, that was so weird.
First off,
oh my god.
Where is your publicist? Where is your team? Where did they go? They've all left him, clearly. You don't say, I don't understand how I can be in trouble for this when I've done it way more than they're accusing me of doing it.
Not double down, he affirmed it, basically.
But also, nobody is trying to Me Too you for giving weird Italian cheek kisses. We all know,
like Euro kiss. No,
we know your creepy brother Fredo. You do the cheek kissing. They're accusing you of doing like sexual harassment and groping and unwanted advances in the workplace.
Absolutely.
And it's just a very non sequitur for you to be like, look at all this video of me kissing people and it's fine. Because that's not the issue here.
Well, I want to draw a distinction here. Because due to the former president, unfortunately, there was a moment in the Me Too movement where a person was shamed enough to resign. Mm-hmm. Once the former president came into power, now we see people like him and I'm losing it. There was another person I had in mind. It doesn't matter who.
Franken? Al Franken?
No. This is recent. No. Who actually are just gonna wait it out. Like
Oh, right.
instead of resigning, Matt Gates is the other person I was thinking about.
yes.
Where there's just like, what if I just don't do anything? Like they use the number one tactic of crisis management of like, if I just wait for this to blow over, everyone will forget about it by denying. But the one distinction is that would have convinced the public at one point. Now the public's like, no, dude, you gotta go.
Yeah. Everyone is pretty much saying you gotta go. The president of the United States, Joe Biden, condemned him, which, I mean, if the guy who's sniffing people thinks that you're creepy.
Is this the pot calling the kettle black? I'm not sure, but maybe that's for another podcast.
But okay, here's the issue though, is that the Democrats, they have to get him out because we don't want to look like a hypocrite. You know, the same thing happened with Al Franken when there was credible allegations against him. We have to, if we're going to condemn Donald Trump for doing the things that he did, we have to condemn Andrew Cuomo, and we have to get him out.
Correct.
But that's the argument that the Republicans are using, right? Is like, well, you guys get better, stand up.
Right.
But why doesn't that work against Matt Gaetz? Like, why can't we flip it on them? Like, well, if we're going to get rid of our guy, you got to get rid of your shitty.
I mean, if we were playing tit for tat, I mean that would have. We'd be in a very different political landscape, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but the political games aside, I mean, he should go because he's done a bad thing.
Well, to get impeached in New York State, you need about a simple majority. The Democrats have a supermajority of 106 to 135, so they only need 76 votes to impeach him. Then after that, it leads the
New York
lieutenant
State
governor.
Senate, right?
She steps in. Her name is I don't know. But she would step in, he would go to trial. They need 2/3 majority from one of the houses. They have that as well. There's a clear path to impeachment and removal.
Yes. So, that's what seems to be the case, that the New York Assembly is already ready to do that. The state Senate is ready to do their vote. Everyone's sort of primed and ready, so I'm not sure what his game plan is on this whole, like, let's wait it out.
It's a matter of time, and there is an HBO movie to come about the Cuomo family and the amount of money they put into the state, and how powerful the Cuomo family is in New York City. There's a bridge, the Marie Cuomo Bridge. Like, that is how much influence the Cuomo family has over the state.
Yeah, it's intense. It's a dynasty.
It is a dynasty, but dynastically, hopefully this is the end.
One can hope. One can hope. He's had a hell of a year.
Yeah, from the non-joke of every late night show to the joke of every late night show.
Indeed. The term Cuomo-sexual has aged so poorly.
So we are now scheduling a Cuomo-sexual shirt burning. Please come to the George Washington Bridge.
No judgment. If you've got one of the shirts, it's a safe space for you to come.
Yes.
And, repent.
After it, we'll throw some red wine on it and you'll have a good time.
And I guess we'll touch back up on this story as it unfolds. I think he's going to resign. I know he's a stubborn guy, but no one's on his side at this point. The mayor, who already disliked him, the president, all of the legislature.
Even his nipple rings have called for his resignation.
His nipple rings are slowly just sagging away. They're trying to crawl out. Okay, so speaking on sexual harassment in the workplace, there's a story that I wanted to touch on, which has really blown up this past week, which is Blizzard Activision, one of the largest gaming development and publishing companies in the world, had a huge lawsuit come out following some allegations of gender discrimination, sexual harassment, unequal pay among different genders, and the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed a lawsuit against them, and then the floodgates of allegations and stories came out, and they're pretty horrific. Some I wouldn't even really feel comfortable talking about on the podcast, but just I think even in the lawsuit they used the term frat boy culture, so it's just a type of place where people get very drunk and sexually aggressive at work. and just not a safe place to be for a woman, which they probably already feel safe because of the lack of gender diversity in that industry already. And apparently the higher ups there have known about this for years and have just been refusing to do anything about it. They've been ignoring it. When the lawsuit came out, they said that it was all false. Then out comes all the petitions from all the employees who say, no, that's definitely not true. You know, men and women that work, they're like, no, I've seen it. It's happening. And this is like the worst place ever to work. And so now they're just fumbling to figure this out. Their stocks dropped. Now their investors are doing a class action lawsuit against them because they weren't informed about, as if the company would ever send out a memo to their investors that, hey, by the way, we're like promoting sexual harassment in the workplace. So yeah, what do you think about all this?
I have three things. The first thing is, similar to the last story, stand with the survivors and those affected by it, because it is just not okay for someone to go to work and not feel safe when all they want to do is do something they love, like politics or working in the gaming industry. The second thing is, this is very similar to the military. The military
Yes.
had a very similar culture of hiring higher ups to investigate the allegations, even though the higher ups are the ones committing the allegations, and they're willing to protect the male counterparts for. I wish I could further understand why. I mean, other than like tribalistic, patriarchal notions, like we can't. No one would believe you if you came out against us. Like you should be lucky to work here, and I bet that was sort of ingrained in it. And it's very similar, like with the military. A lot of money is in Activision, Blizzard Activision, and they fail. What's the word? Like a company that can never fail.
Right.
But this shows that it can fail. Third thing is, I just don't know what coding and keg stands have in common. I just don't know how one can go from like 8 hours of intense Adobe After Effects or whatever it is work and say, I really just need to fucking keg stand and grab someone's breast.
Yeah.
Like, where is the connection there? Because every computer science person I've met, not like that.
Well, see, my initial reaction, you know, as maybe prejudiced as it is, was like, well, I know the kind of guys who play a lot of Call of Duty, which Activision makes. And I was like, maybe those kinds of people are also working on the game. But surprisingly enough, most of the worst allegations came from the World of Warcraft team.
Yes, the incel.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said.
No, I was going to say it if you had.
Don't cancel me. Cancel me.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating because the gaming industry from the developer side and from the fan base side already has this really bad stigma of being horribly toxic towards women.
Yeah.
And in addition to that and just the general Me Too movement happening, you'd think somebody years before this would have put a foot down and said like, okay guys, we have to rethink all of this, and you guys can't be doing keg stands at work. And not that should even matter, because drunk or not, you shouldn't be harassing people.
No.
But I imagine that they feel even less safe when their coworkers are drunk and also harassing them, or getting you drunk at work and making you feel more
Forced
vulnerable.
drinking, yes.
And so that should just not be a part of any culture at work, to be honest.
No, that's not a workplace, and that is not safe, nor is it productive. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy of there were probably meetings had of like women who work there or allies who said like, how can we bring more people into this culture? But there's also that idea of like, why would we? Like, it's not many people can survive, and maybe survive can be a harsh word, but a lot of like if removing yourself from that type of situation is a form of like self-protection and like self-preservation, because it can really wear on the mental health. If you feel like in order to fit in to the place that pays you, you have to drink or be groped or anything like that.
Right.
It's just not. It's not okay.
Yeah,
it's really
and
not okay.
often the criticisms lobbed at that industry already are around like crunch hours and like overworking the staff, and it's already a place like ripe with mental health issues.
Right.
And I think this is maybe going to be a domino effect among other companies, because I imagine they probably are experiencing a lot of the same issues women at other
But I
companies.
think, and then also what's embedded in there is that exploitation goes further than just how much work can I squeeze out of you. But when it comes down to women being exploited, it's added exploitation to it, which is like the feeling of emotional, mental, and physical labor that goes into protecting yourself.
Yeah.
And those higher ups who ignored it, since they're not incurring that exploitation, they're willing to inconvenience people in that way.
Right. And the way they're handling it is exactly the way you'd expect. Like, they claimed that they hired like a third party law firm to come in and like investigate things and then sort of like reestablish more transparency around salary and that kind of like, training and all that stuff.
Sure.
But the recently like Blizzard Activision group of employees like created a coalition that sent in like a letter that was like, we want to appoint our own third party investigator,
As it
because
should be.
this law firm has already been working with Blizzard Activision in the past on lawsuits and working closely with their executives. And so, it's the same with like Amazon busting up unions and stuff. Like, they're not actually going to do it the right way. They're just going to do it the optically pleasing way that they know they can still, get away with it.
Yeah, they must have felt weird when like the first keynote speaker was Andrew Cuomo. They were like, I don't know, this is this is a legitimate law firm. The people who are being oppressed the most or marginalized the most should be able to choose the resources that are given to them, because that is an extension of a resource, not the people in power, because it's only going to be beholden to their bias.
Right.
So it makes literally no sense that like they would like, oh, okay, well, we'll do something about it. Who's those people who defended us in 2003? Get them in here.
Yeah. Call our lawyers. They'll figure it out.
Right. People who are not trained in DEI work whatsoever.
Right.
And I bet you are mostly just white women. I said what I said.
Yeah. You're probably exactly right. It's just, I feel like years from now, we're going to look back and like the Me Too movement wasn't like a year or two. Like, it's like it's decades.
Well, it's
like
continual. It's
going to continue.
It's the fourth wave of feminism. Like, it is a part of where, the women's rights movement is, the Me Too movement are the same. Yeah. It just has a sub-era name to it.
Right. So there's no like moment where it dies out and suddenly like you can like go back to your old ways. Like, this is a permanent systemic change that in some cases is taking longer to weed out or to expose.
The resistance is there, but as these high profile cases continue to come out and it continues to hurt wallets, and we see investors backing out of what could be, you could lose a lot of people with participating in the company, now that we know that like the dollar unfortunately is the biggest way to get companies to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good signal for at least younger generations and smaller companies looking forward, who will think more about like enacting like actual equitable, gender inclusive spaces within their workplaces.
One can hope.
One can hope. So we had a bit of a victory. Cori Bush, the representative from Missouri, yes? I want to say Missouri, St. Louis. She single-handedly, and of course with the support of AOC and other progressives, held a protest in front of the Capitol, and a sit-in, I want to say. And it was for extending the eviction moratorium, which was just sort of like let expire last Saturday. And yesterday, well, basically after pointing fingers back and forth between White House, Congress, the White House extended the eviction moratorium, even though the Supreme Court said they legally should not.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court was really to blame for not letting this happen sooner, is what it seems like. And even still, now people are trying to claim that this is like an illegal move by the CDC or by the White House, and that this is going to sort of like have to fall down on the courts. But it doesn't really matter because it needed to happen. It expired earlier this week, and people were already getting evicted.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that the funding that's supposed to go to rental assistance, especially in New York State, has not actually made it to renters yet.
Right.
So, I mean, this buys time for renters to receive the aid and assistance that they need in order to pay back bills, whatever it is, in order to not be evicted. Also, it still feels sinister to put people out in the streets when there is like the pandemic still continues on.
Right. Well, and the tricky thing too is that it's only going to apply to like 80% of the counties that are seeing upticks in COVID. You know, it's like very targeted who it's going to apply to.
Right.
So people that are currently in illegal battles or have already been evicted, they don't know yet whether that applies to them. Right. And nobody really knows what we're supposed to be doing because this should have been dealt with long before it ever expired.
Correct.
And I'm not even trying to say well, who cares about the landlords? Like, they'll figure it out. Like, we should be providing relief to them too, so that everybody is like comfortable with the idea that this coronavirus is preventing people from paying their bills.
The real estate landscape is dominoed. It's like renters, or landlords rely on renters, but then big businesses who like more banks rely on the landlords. The banks control the financial system. The financial system, without renters paying in some like weird way, would topple the system.
Right.
Due to like credit utilization and a lot of macroeconomics that makes no fucking sense at the end of the day.
Right. So as much as it is like a victory as far as like, it's great. I mean, for me, I think it's cool just to see representatives in Congress who are also organizers. Like yes. She straight up like camped out on the steps of the yes. Capitol for like 5 days. And I don't even think you're allowed to sleep on the steps of the Capitol. So they're just like tagging people in and out just to make this and nobody would be talking about it. Like,
I mean, this is a person who, like, somebody at AOC came up as like a people's candidate. So she has seen like people experiencing homelessness and like knows like what that can do in St. Louis. So it's like it feels like a moral imperative and that you have to do this.
Her and her family were unhoused themselves, and I've already seen like Fox News trying to shame this for her, like, oh, she's standing up for renters, but she couldn't even pay her rent. It's like, yeah, that's because she understands the struggle of being kicked out of your home.
Wild to me how conservative media like would paint that picture, but would not include how much like minimum wage and like cost of living continues to raise while people work full-time jobs. So yeah, we say with Cori Bush, and I like that you say that. Yeah, that she's an activist and or an organizer, and hopefully we'll continue to see more organizers like that. Right. Because don't forget where you came from.
Yeah.
Not every. I think there will be a watershed moment. Maybe in the next 10 to 20 years, we'll see more of that as opposed to just like rich people.
Yeah, well, I think that's
dynastic.
That's
people.
Sort of what sets the squad apart is that they really do stand with the people, like physically, literally. They will stand out
drinking
and they will
coffee,
protest,
talking to the people. Whereas like some progressives, like Amy Klobuchar, will show up and be like, "We stand with you." She'll give like a little speech or something. I mean, just an example. Like all of them are guilty of that, but like you don't actually see them creating the movement themselves and making the issue so important that the White House can't help but answer for it. And it is unfortunate that, I mean, with those people, like Cori Bush had to run, like she was featured in the Knock Down the House, which AOC won in that documentary. She was in that documentary, so she had to run again. I mean, there is like the desperation that I could say some moderates or progressive leaning people feel with like beholding themselves to like banks in order to like pay for an election. But I don't know, I guess that's also another discussion of when you feel desperate to, fit your ideals, but then in order to fit your ideals, you have to give and take. In order to give and take, you have to lose that part of your political identity.
Yeah, they're playing it a different way, and hopefully it just inspires more people to try to go about it that way. because they're not beholden to many large donors. Even if it is a small victory, because it's only going to be extended till, I think, October 3rd.
Yeah.
And we still don't know whether the renter's assistance is going to come through everywhere and whether these people won't just end up getting unhoused in the winter instead of now in the summer. So,
which would be awful.
But it is an interesting precedent as far as just a political movement, I suppose, happening within the Congress.
Yes, housing is a human right. To be housed is a human right. That, believe sexual assault survivors, and
Wear your mask.
wear that mask, baby. Hang in there, baby. Wear that mask. Come on, girl. Wear that mask.
Girl, get that shot.
Get that shot. Get that shot.
Oh, damn it. Oh, is that your Excelsior pass? Damn.
Oh. Is that fresh $100 from your shot? Ooh.
Well, thank you for listening to the Avant Inn podcast. I am one of your hosts, Topher Wagner.
And I'm always another host, Jerome Allen.
If you liked what you heard, please, tell a friend about us, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, or just keep tuning in. Also, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. It's also just the Avant Inn on YouTube. If you are watching the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It helps so much. Our theme song is Mend by Knox Engler.
Got a new EP out called Compound Leaf. Check it out on Spotify.
Oh, damn.
I also have another channel thing going on. If you like RuPaul's Drag Race, stop by the Sit Stop.
Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Yep, it's gonna be a little kiki.
It's our sister show.
It is our sister show.
Yeah.
Or like our second, like it is the, we did so much for her to run. we worked sanitation jobs her whole life so she could go to Princeton. So go on,
proud.
baby. You got anything?
The closing line is go watch Sit Stop, the unauthorized recap. It's just a plug. It's not an inspiring quote, but it's a plug.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.